Today I'm so excited because I'm going to be showing y'all how to make some Urban Outfitters themed decor. I would say the key words for this video are simple and affordable. Keep in mind for a lot of these projects, you may have some of these supplies already around your house. So here is some of the inspiration that I found on Urban Outfitters website that I'm kind of going to be basing these projects off of. I never buy anything that I know that I can make because it just feels like a defeat, and I end up not buying it for the purpose of making it. And then I never actually make it, so I should have just bought it. But that's why I'm excited today, because I'm actually gonna show y'all how to make these things that you don't want to purchase because you feel like you can make them. So let's actually make them and let's get started. You are going to spray paint the front of 2 to 3 pieces of cardstock, let it dry, spray paint the back. Step 2, you're going to stencil out your moon phases. I used something circular. This could help you to ensure that all of your moon phases are the same size. The next thing that you're going to do is cut out all of your moon phases. As you can see, I have laid out here the moon phases in order. Step 3, you're going to want to cut these out of your cardstock that you have painted front and back. You're going to cut 1 of the full moon and 2 of every other moon phase. So step 4, you're going to want to make this garland that you're going to hang your moon pieces on. Now, the reason that you want to have these little extensions extending off of the garland is because when you hang your garland like this, you want your pieces to hang down and away from each other. You're going to want to leave a little slack at the beginning and also at the end of your garland so that you have room to hang up your garland or tack it to the wall or whatever you want to do. What you're going to do to tie these little extensions on is you're going to come over 5 inches and down 8. You're going to place your finger at the top and the bottom of the 8, and you're going to bring them together and tie a knot where they meet. And then you're also going to tie a knot at the bottom of that little extension. This knot at the bottom is what you're going to tack down to the back of your painted moon pieces. So once again, over 5, down 8, bring the 8 up, tie a knot at the bottom and the top, and you're going to repeat this until you have 9 extensions. Step 5 is the last step. Lay out your moon phases so that they are in the correct order, facing the correct ways, and then you're simply going to tack down each bottom knot to the back of each moon piece. You're going to want to open your air dry clay, whatever you're not going to use, seal it in an airtight container and put it away. Step 2, you're going to begin to mold this air dry clay into whatever it is that you want it to be. So I am going to make a ring holder jewelry dish, so like a little jewelry dish with the thing coming up out of it that you can slip your rings onto. As you can see here, I molded 2 different pieces, the extension piece and the bowl piece, which I need to attach together. I'm going to set them together the way that I want them to be, and then I'm going to take something sharp and kind of scratch one piece into another. Then I will go over it and smooth it with my fingers, go in and add some details. You can use any kind of little sharp tool that you can get your hands on. Step 3, you're going to let it dry overnight. You do want it to dry all the way completely through. Step 4, you're going to paint your little clay creation. I did a floral design on my pieces. Give them a base coat. Then I'm going to go in with a darker color to really accentuate those areas that I had carved out previously. Add whatever kind of details you wish. The last step is a clear coat. I'm using polyurethane clear gloss spray paint. originally bought these hooks. I bought 4 of them because in my mind, I was thinking, okay, these are the ones I'm going to use in the corner. But then I realized that the little screw part on them that screws into the wood was too big for the wood. And then I only ended up using one of these big hooks to tie the rope together at the top. I actually ended up getting these little small hooks instead that you can just screw in with your hand. Okay, sorry about that. Now on with the fun. Step 1 is optional, but I chose to finish my wood to give it a little bit of a darker look. Step 2 is to screw your small hooks into each corner of your board. I marked my board 1/2 inch over and 1/2 inch in on all 4 corners, and I just screwed them in with my hands. Okay, so for step 3, you're going to cut your rope or your twine, which is going to help you hang your shelf from the ceiling. So I came up with this little diagram. I don't know, I hope this is helpful. This is the only way I could really think to explain it. This kind of stuff is what makes sense in my brain, so hopefully I can translate this. But so what you're going to do is you're going to want to measure from the ceiling to where you want the top of your table to sit. So when I measured this, my length was 70 inches. So you're only going to cut 2 strings. So for instance, like this string and this string are the same string, basically folded in half. This string and this string are basically the same string folded in half. So 70 inches, but since you're only cutting 2, you're going to need to double this. So 70 inches times 2, that gave me 140 inches. Now what I did was I added 10 inches just for slack so that you can tie your knots here and at the top. So that gave me 150 inches. So what I did was I cut 2 strings that were 150 inches long. So as you can see here, I have my 2 long strings, but you are also going to want to cut a shorter string about 2 feet long. This is what you're going to secure your knot with at the top. Now, the next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to tie your rope onto diagonal corners. So one piece of rope, each end will go diagonally from each other, and the other piece of rope, those 2 ends will go the other way diagonally from each other. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put your first string in one corner and make sure that the knot that you tie here is not super secure. You're going to want to come back and edit this knot, so to speak, later, and you're going to have to come back and take these knots out and tie them again to make sure that the board is level. So don't tie it super tight. Now, before you tie one end to the other diagonal end, make sure that you stick your rope through your hook and then tie your rope to the hook diagonal. Then you're going to do the other string the exact same way that you just did this one. Step 4 is to tie a knot at the top that secures all of these strings to the screw that's going to go into the ceiling. This is what you need your 2-foot piece of rope for. So I'm going to show you this slowly so you can follow along, but you leave an open end at the top, a loop at the bottom, and then you wrap this rope continuously around, making sure that you leave the open end at the top available for you to pull later, and you'll understand. So you just wrap around and around about 8 or 9 times. And when you get to this point, when there's about an inch left of the loop at the bottom, you're going to stick this open end through the loop, and you're going to hold that in place with your finger. And then at the top of the knot where you left the open-ended string, you're going to pull that string, and it's going to tuck that loop up into your knot. So you're just going to pull until that loop is hidden underneath where you just wrapped. Once you get that, all you do is you simply trim off each end of this string, and then you have a very secure, actually aesthetically pleasing knot. Step 5 is the last step, and this step is making sure that your little hanging coffee table is level because if you want to be setting things on it, obviously you don't want it to be crooked. Now, I used a level for this. I feel like you could possibly get creative and not have to. This is where you not tying your knots tight around the hooks on the corners comes into play. Now that you've got your knot at the top secure, now you can go and edit these knots at the bottom to make sure that all four corners are level. Like I said, I used a level and I did this one knot at a time. I also used the same method that I just showed you to tie the knot at the top of the rope. I used on all four corners here. So if you do choose to use that method, you are going to need 4 more pieces of rope or twine that are about 2 feet long. Step 1 of the mirror project is to remove this metal stand thing from your mirror. Usually, depending on what kind of mirror you get, it just pops right off. You may have to unscrew something. So for step 2, what I did was I decided to take my rope and just hot glue it around the edges until you could see no more of the purple boundary. Then I just went around and cut off the little scragglies that hang off. Step 3 is to glue your dowels on. Now, I took my dowels and I sawed them down into thirds because I wanted them to be smaller. You could even break your dowels in half because you won't be able to see behind the mirror. And I just began to glue them on evenly. Now, I kind of altered the length, so I did some longer and some shorter than others to give it kind of an irregular effect. So step 4, once you get them all glued on, this is probably an optional step, but I just wanted to add a little something extra. So I took my rope that I had originally used to go around the mirror, and I just began weaving it in between these rays that were coming off of the back of the mirror. So what I did was I hot glued the rope down on the back every time I weaved it around towards the back, if that makes sense. Just went behind a dowel, in front of a dowel, behind a dowel, in front of a dowel, and every time I came behind, I stuck a little bit of hot glue there just to hold it in place. As you can see here, I just kept going until I was satisfied, and eventually I cut it and just hot glued the raw end down on the back. Got done doing a TikTok makeup tutorial channeling my inner Megan Fox today. That's why I look like this. I don't always look like this. Thank y'all so much for watching. I really hope that y'all try some of these out. It's just so fulfilling to make decor for your home or whatever, and then every time you walk past it, you're like, I made that. If you like this kind of content, please like, comment, or subscribe so that I know to keep making more content like this. I am going to be posting a new video every week, so I hope that you'll come back. If you do make any of these products that I've shown you how to make, please tag me or message me on Instagram or just anything to let me know. I would love to see what y'all come up with.